What's curious about this is how did he get out? In other words, how was it these revelations came to light about what he was saying on a phone call to the Russian ambassador? Who leaked that out? Even President Trump tweeting. The real story here is, why are there so many illegal leaks coming out of Washington? Keep in mind, remember that famous phone call the president had with the Australian prime minister? Someone at the State Department got that out there. Remember all those devastating details about an unbalanced tax code in the middle of the Steve Mnuchin confirmation hearings for Treasury? Who got that out there? Let me see. That would be some on the Treasury. So you think about these agencies who have to report to their new leaders, and they might not be on the same page as their leaders. In fact, they might be trying to undermine those leaders. To one of the smartest guys I know on this type of subject, the former FBI official, Steve Rogers. Steve, that is telling because it's consistently happened. I've never seen an administration right out the box just getting exposed on this stuff from the very agencies over which it has jurisdiction.
Neil, you're absolutely right. It's the consistency of what's happening that is very concerning. Look, there are no doubt some could be pretty much high to mid-level individuals or an individual who is leaking this stuff out. They probably believe they're doing it for the good of the country because they probably don't like the president, but in fact they're hurting the country. And look, Neil, General Mike Flynn was a great choice that the president made for National Security Advisor. It's unfortunate this happened. The president showed some extraordinary leadership by the quick decision he made to accept the general's resignation. But let me just add this, that it wasn't just a leak that ended the career of General Mike Flynn. I believe it had a lot to do with his misleading the vice president. Whether he did that intentionally or not is yet to be seen, but I think a combination of both those things did him in. But getting back to this idea of people leaking this information, you know, my wife and I were talking the other night. President Trump hasn't had time to enjoy his presidency. It's one thing after another, and it's people within the government that are upsetting the apple cart here.
But should we be surprised if you think about it? You've got an incoming energy secretary, Rick Perry, who was famous for saying he wanted to, demolish the department, get rid of it. You have an incoming Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, who is famous for saying the way the Treasury has worked and counted the impact of tax cuts is just wrong. So one institution after another comes back, and it seems like the worker bees are reminding their new political chiefs, you guys come and go. We're here forever, and we're going to make your life hell. And I don't think I'm imagining it. I mean, because it's happened in a number of cases, particularly on these security issues.
Neil, you're absolutely right. I could tell you when I worked at the National Joint Terrorism Task Force, we were terrified after some briefings as to what would happen to us if we leaked information, if we even inadvertently took information out of the building. So there are political people within those agencies now that need to be removed. And I am sure and I am hopeful that the new Attorney General will be directed by the president to get on this right away, and they may just have to clean every single agency out. Because this is bad for our country. They're not hurting just the president of the United States, who deserves a decent shot at this, but they're affecting in a very negative way the national security of this great nation, and they're going to have to get on this immediately.
Shouldn't General Flynn have known, though, that if you're talking to the Russian ambassador, there's a good chance someone's recording this, monitoring this?
You know, it's a mystery, isn't it? He's a smart guy. But sometimes, we kind of think that everything's going to be well taken care of and no one's going to do these things. But he made a misstep here, and unfortunately, and I really mean unfortunately, it wasn't good for the country. But I send him certainly God's blessings and that he does well wherever he goes.
Well, he's a good man and a good patriot, as are you. Steve Rogers, thank you very, very much. Already, John McCain is questioning how it is the White House could